matters to my colleagues, to my colleagues at the Department of State.
Oh.
It matters to the American public for whom we serve. And most importantly, excuse me, it matters to the friends and family of Ambassador Stevens, Sean Smith, Glenn Doherty, and Tyrone Woods, who were murdered on September 11th, 2012. In addition to my testimony before this committee in October 2012, I also met with the FBI, Senate Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, the Department's Accountability Review Board, and I've discussed my experiences in Libya with all of them. I'm proud of the work that our team accomplished in Libya under extraordinarily difficult circumstances. The protection of our nation's diplomats, our embassies and consulates, and the work produced there is deserving of the time that this committee, other congressional committees, and the Accountability Review Board, and no doubt future review efforts, will invest in making sure that we get this process right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and members of the committee for the opportunity to appear before you today. I stand ready to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay,
Thank you.
now we're
That
gonna
was emotional.
That was. Well, the other guy gets emotional too. I swear, I was crying. I was just in my kitchen watching this thing, just bawling my eyes out today. I mean, this is powerful testimony. I want to thank C-SPAN for the video.
During the night, I'm in touch with Washington, keeping them posted of what's happening in Tripoli and, to the best of my knowledge, what I'm being told in Benghazi. I think at about 2 p.m., 2 a.m., sorry, the Secretary of State Clinton called me, along with her senior staff. We're all on the phone. And she asked me what was going on, and I briefed her on the developments. Most of the conversation was about the search for Ambassador Stevens. It was also about what we were going to do with our personnel in Benghazi. And I told her that we would need to evacuate. And that was she said that was the right thing to do. At about 3 a.m., I received a call from the Prime Minister of Libya. I think it's the saddest phone call I've ever had in my life. He told me that Ambassador Stevens had passed away. I immediately telephoned Washington that news afterwards and began accelerating our effort to withdraw from the Villas compound and move to the annex. Excuse me, I'll take a glass of water.
But it's really some sort of show in the sense that they're not asking any of the people who made the decisions to show up. So we have these hearings, and these people who are on the ground in Libya and who give very dramatic and harrowing testimony of what happened. It's interesting, it's informative, but the decisions are being made up above. They're being made by, Hillary Clinton's long-term loyalists. The name Cheryl Mills has come up, another name. They don't bring these people in. And then they don't ask the sort of real fundamental questions. The question that people really want to know is, why wasn't some effort made to bring some sort of military assets to bear on these people to protect them? Okay. And the first attack is at 5:45 at night, but the real bad attack, the mortar attack, wasn't until 8.5 hours later. And so, and the story has been consistently, well, here we are, the mightiest country in the free world, and we're just utterly incapable of bringing any force to bear for a period of 8 hours.
8 hours.
And they're not focusing on that.
They said that they were furious. He said because he was ready to get on. He had all his bags ready. All 4 of the special ops guys, and they were told to stand down. And as a matter of fact, he says to this guy Hicks, he quotes the guy, the lieutenant colonel, and says, "Well, this is the first time I've ever seen that bureaucrats have more balls than the military."
Yeah, you're falling for it, though, because that is a sideshow. And the reason it's a sideshow is because that was a C-130 plane that was going to leave from Tripoli to Benghazi, which is about 600 miles away or so. That plane actually, that the Special Forces didn't get on, didn't land until after the second mortar attack was over anyway. The real question is what happened before that. And that's the dog that's not barking here. You know, we are told that they had multiple drones in the air, and we are told they had real-time video of these things, and we're even told that it's a Predator drone, okay? And so one of the obvious questions is, okay, this drone is called Predator, okay? So we call it a Predator because it has predatory capabilities, like weapons, you know? And the story is, oh no, you know.
They were one of the congressmen today said that it was an unarmed one.
Yeah, what the hell does he know? He's just a congressman, okay? He's not a witness. You have hearings to have witnesses.
Witness said, they asked him about, was there ever any request of the Libyan government to fly military planes over over Libyan airspace, and not one time did they ask, ever. During that entire thing did they ask. And he made a point of saying, except for, what is the
It's a sideshow.
Except for unmanned flights.
It's a sideshow. You're getting distracted. What's important here is, did they have military assets to protect those people or not? And
they did.
Where do these drones fly from? Are they really unarmed? Why is it that people all over the Arab world fear these drones, but these drones miraculously are unarmed? There's something else that happened that's even more significant, okay? There is a U.S. Army command in Stuttgart, Germany called AFRICOM, okay? And there was a general, a guy named General Ham. And General Ham was in charge of AFRICOM until this incident. And then, after this incident occurred, he suddenly, in the middle of it, he's relieved of his command. And the rumor going around
was...
Well,
they said in the hearings that he was still in charge of that night, and they thought it came from him to not send the guys.
Where is he? Where is he? This is an investigating committee.
Yeah, that's true.
You bring the guy in and you ask him what happened. But like all the important witnesses, they're off somewhere else. Or their lawyer hasn't been cleared yet for top secret
clearance.
clearance.
And then they were making it really mysterious on how they could even subpoena them to come and speak, because they had no protocol for how they could even bring them in.
This is the United States Congress, for God's sakes. You know, you would think that if they were really interested in finding out what would happen, they would bring the people in who knew, instead of the people who have some tiny little piece of the elephant way down at the bottom. So I don't have a lot of faith that these hearings have gotten to the bottom of it all, but worse yet, I don't have a lot of faith they ever will at the rate they're going.
Before I got the call from the Prime Minister, we'd received several phone calls on the phone that had been with the ambassador, saying that we know where the ambassador is, please, you can come get him. And our local staff engaged on those phone calls admirably, asking very, very good, outstanding, even open-ended questions about where was he, trying to discern whether he was alive, whether they even had the ambassador, whether that person was with the ambassador. Send a picture. Could we talk to the ambassador? Because we knew separately from David that the ambassador was in a hospital that we believed was under Ansar Sharia's call, we suspected that we were being baited into a trap. And so we did not want to go send our people into an ambush. And we didn't. We sent them to the annex. Shortly after they arrived at the annex, the mortars came in. First mortar round was long. It landed actually among the Libyans who escorted our people. They took casualties for us that night. Then the next was short. The next three landed on the roof, killing Glenn and Tyrone. severely wounding David. They didn't know whether any more mortars were going to come in. The accuracy was terribly precise. The call was, the next one is coming through the roof, maybe if it hit. Two of the guys from Team Tripoli, they climbed up on the roof. They carried Glenn's body and Tyrone's body down. One guy, about Mark's size, full combat gear, climbed up there, strapped David Ubben, who's a large man, to his back, carried him down the ladder, saved him. John Martinick was a mountain of moral support, particularly to the guys who were in Benghazi. He was on the phone talking them through the whole ordeal. David McFarland on the phone constantly, all the time, talking to his contacts in Benghazi, urging them to help. Lieutenant Colonel Phillips and Lieutenant Colonel Arndt, Lieutenant Colonel Gibson, mountains of strength. I'm awed. I'm still in awe of them. The defense attaché had persuaded the Libyans to fly their C-130 to Benghazi. We wanted to airlift. Since we had consolidated at the annex, and the Libyan government had now provided us with external security around our facilities, we wanted to send further reinforcements to Benghazi. We determined that Lieutenant Colonel Gibson and his team of Special Forces troops should go. The people in Benghazi had been fighting all night. They were tired, they were exhausted. We wanted to make sure the airport was secure for their withdrawal. As Colonel Gibson and his 3 personnel were getting in the cars, he stopped and he called them off and told me that he had not been authorized to go. The vehicles had to go because the flight needed to go to to Benghazi. Lieutenant Colonel Gibson was furious. I had told him to go bring our people home. That's what he wanted to do.